In today's video, we're going to do a comparison between two of the most popular ways of sorting a list in Python. One of those is the sorted function, the other is the dot sort method. And generally there's two differences I'd like to highlight, as I think these are the most important. First of all, one is a function, one is a method. So what does that mean exactly? Well, sorted is a function, and functions are generally not tied to specific types. So if you take print, for example, print can accept almost anything, to be honest. You can pass a string, a list, tuple, dictionary, integer, boolean into that. It doesn't matter. It's not tied to any of those types, therefore it can accept any of those inputs and show them out on the screen. It's completely fine. The sorted function's a bit like that. Of course, you can't pass quite everything to it, but you could pass it a list, string, a tuple, a set. Doesn't matter. You could pass it any of those, and it'll happily give you a brand new sorted list on the other side. However, on the other side of that, we have dot sort, and this is a list method. Methods are a little bit like functions, except these are tied specifically to different types. So the list has a load of things that can be done with it. It can have stuff added to it, taken away from it. It can be reversed, copied, cleared, etc. And those are all of the methods that belong to the list class. One of those is dot sort. So for example, if this was a string, you couldn't do string dot sort because the string class does not have a sort method. The list class does, and that's why we can use it. That's the first difference. Sorted is a general purpose function, can accept quite a few different types of input. Dot sort is a method, belongs to the list class, so only the list can have dot sort called upon it. The second difference is one of these is in place, whilst the other is not. In place, if you've seen in place operation, it just means that it permanently modifies that variable from upon when it was called. The sorted function this is not in place. So if I called sorted on this here, it's going to give me back a copy of the list which is sorted, whilst maintaining the original list here. There is a way you can do it which makes it look like it's in place, and I'll show that in the example here. List.sort, this is in place. So let's suppose you called .sort on line 10 here, where the hashtags are. When you call .sort here, from this point onwards, that list is going to be permanently changed. So that's a key difference. Of course, there's reasons why you might choose one over the other, and we'll discuss those when we run the examples in just a second. So let's make a bit of space, and we'll do the sorted function first. Let's say new, let's define a variable called new. New is equal to whatever the sorted function returns. So we need to pass in our list here, and let's hit run. Actually, before we hit run, let's go ahead and just pass in a print statement underneath here, and we'll print new. So we're going to print the list before the sorting, after the sorting, and in between that we'll print off whatever this new variable here happens to contain. There we go. So the before and after, exactly the same. So that shows that this is not in place. It hasn't modified that original list. However, we do have a brand new list that's been returned here. So this -1, 0, 2, etc. The way to make this look like it's in place, I wouldn't advise doing, but you can do it if you wanted to, is to do it like this. And what you're doing here is you're basically redefining the variable as the sorted version of itself. So there we go, just like that. Let's take a look at .sort. Calling this is much easier. You can do like that. So as we said, this is in place, which means I think about like from this point onwards where the hashtags are, this list is now permanently changed from this point onwards. That's a way to see it. So let's hit clear in the command and hit run. And there we go. That's it. So just to summarize, sorted is a function. It's general purpose. It's not tied to the list class. The dot sort method is tied to the list class. So this here has to be a list that we're calling dot sort upon. The sorted function is not in place, so it doesn't modify the original list. Instead, it returns a new one. The dot sort method is in place, which means it modifies the original list upon which you called it on. All right, thanks very much.